Hello, gorgeous heartbeat, and welcome to Heartbeats Harbor. I'm your host, Brianna Hosack, and I'm here to shine the light on the shadow path we walk as heartbeat women. Women rising into leadership roles as lightworkers, changemakers, world shakers, or as I call us, heartbeats, do not have an easy path to walk. It often feels lonely, painful, and unique, but I'm here to help you see how very not alone you are, and how beautiful the shadows surrounding you actually are when you love and integrate them on your healing journey. I create spaces and opportunities for women to step into deeper self-awareness, self-acceptance, and personal healing, community and sacred circles, as well as leadership of themselves, their families, their communities, and beyond. My business and my life is and always will be about massive change in the ways things are done around the world. I believe it's a big part of my purpose on this planet to be a voice for those who don't have one, a safe harbor for those who need one, and a beacon of light to inspire a better way. None of this is easy. I've learned that big impact requires bold action and delusional levels of confidence, as well as a ton of shadow work. If you love what you hear on this podcast and you want to be part of the growing, supportive online village of Heartbeats Harbor, make sure you join my Facebook group, which is linked below in the show notes. Now, I can't wait to get started, so let's turn on the lights. Hey, heartbeats. Welcome back to another episode of the Heartbeats Harbor podcast. This one is off the cuff and completely unexpected. I randomly got inspired and I went into my bedroom and shut off all the noise just so that I could record it before I lost the inspiration. So here goes. It is unplanned, unstructured, on everything, and that is what it's going to be. So I was actually thinking about, yesterday and even the day before, on the Suspending Disbelief podcast, I was talking about my shift from the new year, from over the holidays, where I had planned to be off work in the sense of not working with clients, but I definitely had planned working on the back end of my business and thought all the amazing stuff I was going to get done. And then I had holidays and my guides, every time I tried to work, were like, hell no, and shut it down. So, so I was like, what the heck? What the heck? And I kept on really feeling that pull, like, yeah, I know I need a break, but I also have so much that I need to get done and that I had been sort of setting aside to do over the holidays and then didn't get done because they literally were like, no, you're supposed to stop, damn it. So I did listen to the guidance and I was really struggling with it. I was like, why? This makes no sense. And then coming back to work the week after the Christmas holidays, um, after 2 weeks of zero work, and I mean zero, I did not turn on social media. I did not do any of it. And I came back and I was just slammed, and I was coming into the luteal 2 phase of my hormone cycle. So right before your period, where you get like super exhausted and more bitchy and all of the things. And that was the energy I was going into, coming back from holidays, going to like getting back into routine with the kids, getting them back to school, and also having um six six extracurricular things all starting seven extracurricular things all starting back the first week back to school. So Cadence is in archery, basketball, and swimming. Jace is doing soccer and swimming, and Casey is doing like a multi-sport thing for 3 to 5 year olds, right? And then swimming as well. So just a lot. We had a lot going on. And I was already going into this low energy phase. And then on top of that, I had all this work that I had set aside that is like coming due and really needs to be done. And, all of these things. And my guides were like, nope, you're not working. Nope, you're not working the whole time over the holidays. So I was just like, what the hell? And coming back into work, I was so frustrated. I was really struggling. I was getting lots done still, just because the way that I have things set up for myself, I can still really function even in that sort of week where you're just so exhausted and brain fog and all of those things. So I still was doing okay, but I was nowhere near catching up, right? And coming into this week, I was still, so maybe TMI, maybe not, but I have still not gotten my period. It is like a week overdue now. And usually the only thing that delays my periods is extreme times of stress. And I was like, nope, not this time. Like, yes, this last week has been a lot. We've been busy, but I haven't been stressed. I have not been beating up on myself for not getting that work done. I have not been freaking out that it won't get done. I've been trusting that it will get done, all of that. And I still have been getting a decent amount done. So that's not stressing me out. Finances aren't stressing me out. My kids are, kids, and they have their moments of stressing me out, but nothing over the top. No events that were stressful enough to delay my period, right? So no idea why. And yeah, and like hitting a week now where I've been not getting it. And I finally realized in the last couple of days what the message is. And if any of you know me, like, oh my gosh, my guides must just like beat their heads against the wall, because sometimes it takes a while for like to get a message through to me. I am just very bullheaded, right? Like I just keep on keeping on, and I don't necessarily get it always right away. So the message though is now loud and clear. I first of all needed to stop. And the first week of the holidays, I was not alone. My uncle was here, Cadence was home, but my two younger kids were gone, which means that I can send the other two away and be alone, right? I can be left alone by those two. And so I was able to have a lot of time to myself. And yet I just was frustrated by the fact that I couldn't use any of that time to work. So it really highlighted like I am not giving myself, I give myself self-care time. I do. I spend time alone with myself. I meditate. I do all of these things. And I know that that needs to be my top priority, and I make it my top priority, but I limit it. And so what really was highlighted for me was that it needs to be more. It needs to be unlimited. It needs to be that I allow it to go until I feel that I'm done. And that needs to happen more often, not be a forced thing for an entire week over holidays where I have something else planned. Okay. So that was one message that came through. And then the second week with my kids home, it was basically the same thing, but for my kids, that I needed to not limit the amount of time being present with my kids. I needed to just allow that to be until they had their cups all full before I even start thinking about work and everything else. Right. And, we've got the house is fairly well maintained most of the time. It could use a little bit more TLC a lot of the time. I'll prioritize business tasks over that, and things are not perfect. Not perfect, but like they're not to the level I would like them to be at the house. And really, it wouldn't take that much more time if I would just, allow it. So the method that I always teach my clients is self-care first, then present time with your family, then your house, then work. And here's the reasoning why, because we can't pour from an empty cup. So we pour into ourselves first. And then our top priority beyond ourselves needs to be our family. Of course, they're, especially our young kids and stuff like that, and our partners, but we need to be present with them. They are our priority. They are the whole reason that we are, trying to create change in the world, that we are, maybe chose to be entrepreneurs. For me, for myself, it was, I wanted to be home with my kids, right? That was like the first reason that really drove me to do it. Before I even got passionate, before I even wanted to create change, all of that, it was because I wanted to be at home with my kids. So for it not to be a priority to be present with our family over work is a mistake, right? If that is what we're doing it all for, then we really need to focus on that. And I know I'm not the first one to say that, but these lessons are coming in loud and clear. And so I feel like there's just this urge to share them. So anyways, the message was clear, right? That I needed to stop limiting that time with them so much. And I spent that week, and that was fine. And then coming back, I was like, why is it still like I'm still struggling to have this time to work? And this week has been extra. So this week is actually the week of January 13th to, I believe, 17th is the Monday to Friday. And we are here in Alberta, and maybe it's not even all of Alberta, but it's our school district. The EAs and the special needs assistants and all of that, they are on strike. And so we have a lot of the support staff in our schools are on strike right now. They're not there. And so there's a lot more on the teachers, a lot more on, the admin staff and whatnot. And certain programs are not running. A lot of extracurricular activities at the schools are shut down. A lot of daytime programming during the day. Like there are a lot of the special needs students can't even go to school right now because their assistants, their supports and aides are not there. And my youngest, Casey, her class is actually a program specifically for like special needs and preparing these students to be ready for regular school programming, right? So she's in preschool, not kindergarten. And she is, she barely cut the she barely made the bar to be able to be in this class. She doesn't really have any like deficiencies or struggles or anything like that, but she had maybe a little bit of a mild speech delay or some struggles with her speech. But the reason I wanted her to be accepted into this program is because it's in the same building as my son's school, so it doesn't mean me driving to multiple locations, right? So it was just a matter of getting her into some social situations and all of that. And I thought, you know what, it's great for her to have that experience with students who have different abilities and different strengths and weaknesses and whatever. So anyway, she's in that program and her program is completely shut down while they're on strike. So she is just home with me and, we're that's great. I don't really have a problem with her being home with me. However, I have sort of structured my work hours based around when she's at school, right? So that 2.5 hours that I usually have each day is my silent time. And I have been using it solely for work, first of all. And I have also been using it like every last minute of it, like drinking to the last drop, right? And the realization that I had over the last couple of days, specifically since she's been home, is, and I talked like quite a bit about this on the Suspending Disbelief podcast. If you want to go actually listen to like the full episode for that, it was for yesterday. So it was January 15th. I can't remember what day number it was, but they also have the dates and all the titles. So January 15th, 2025 is the one that you want to listen to if you want to hear all about that. But I was crying and I was all the things because there was just a lot of realizations coming in fast and thick. But what I realized is that with putting these limits on my self-care, like giving them a time limit, giving it so that like, oh, I have to stop at this point and move on to the next thing. And there are some things where that has to happen. So for example, with my self-care, getting up in the morning early so that I can do that on my own and then having a time limit because I need to get the kids up for school, that's fine, right? But then coming home and being, deciding that just because it's silent in the house, that means I need to work for that every last minute of that 2.5 hours while Casey is at school. If my self-care wasn't done, that should not be the priority. The priority should be on finishing my self-care, on allowing myself to continue until I am full to the brim, right? And then I realized when Casey's home, whether it's during this strike and she's home during those hours, or when she's home, when I go pick her up at the end of those hours and she's home for the rest of the afternoon by ourselves, her time with me one-on-one and me being present with her should not be limited. It should not be like, okay, well, we'll do one activity together and then I'm going to work for the rest of the day while you watch shows or while you entertain yourself, right? And the realizations were very tied into some of the things that we did. So like we went swimming together. We had this deep, deep connection after spending some time together yesterday. And I could feel the difference in our bond in one day. Because I didn't put a time limit on that. We went as early as we could and we stayed as long as felt good until it was like, okay, well, we do have to leave by a certain point because otherwise we won't be able to pick your brother up from school, or whatever. But we stayed for so long and she was completely exhausted physically, and just in this very like quiet and calm energy. She took a nap on the way home. She cuddled with me for like an hour and she was so much more pleasant in the evening. And I could really feel the difference. And I had this was the big thing in the Suspending Disbelief episode is I've shifted from, I'm in month 10 now of this Suspending Disbelief challenge of 365 days of suspending disbelief. And my main focus has been on suspending disbelief about money. And I have had some massive transformations in that field over the last 10 months. And I've realized that the shift now needs to be on myself and my children as the priority, as like being present and all of this. And what actually set me to recording this episode was it's like noon. I finally went to go onto social media and just start engaging a little bit because I've got posts that like auto scheduled and were out and all of this, and I haven't done any of that and whatever. And I went on there, and the first thing that I saw was just a conversation in one of my spiritual circles. And one of the things that I talk about the most, right, and teach about is the sisterhood thing. Like, this has been the last few episodes that I've recorded for this podcast, and it's been like all of my content, all my blog posts, everything lately, having this sisterhood and this deep, deep connection with these other women. And it's really important. It really, really is. And what I realized though was that I'm, even though this is what I'm saying and I'm doing it a little bit, I'm limiting all of these things. So I decided from now on, it is me, my kids, my home, my sisterhood circles, and then work. And I am going to trust and I am going to suspend disbelief about not having the time or the focus or the quiet or whatever to get the work that I need to get work or to get the work that I need to get done. I am going to trust that I am able to do that in the amount of time that I'm given. And just like everything else. So, this is what I preach to my clients all the time. Your self-care needs to come first because you can't pour from an empty cup and all of that. I do it all day long. I say it all day long, and I even practice it to an extent, but this is sort of taking it to another level. And this is like, I am going to now, when I turn on social media, the first thing I'm going to do, instead of going to engage in other groups for business purposes, is I'm going to go and engage in my sisterhood spaces, in my spirituality circles, in all of that. And I'm going to, but I had that realization that even though I am talking about how important these circles are, and I do prioritize these women, they are my like energy force. They are such a driving force for me, such a huge factor in everything that I do. And they matter so much to me. And that hasn't changed, right? That's not something that I forgot to take care of or whatever, but I'm just not putting it in the right order. And as strong as those bonds are for me, I just wonder how much stronger they could be were I to prioritize this over that other engagement. And so I just had this shift in thinking, one day of as unlimited as possible present time with my daughter created this massive shift in our relationship already with my 4-year-old. And then actually, it was the day before that I had made the decision that my children were going to be the priority over business as far as my suspending disbelief goals were going, that I was going to shift my focus at this partway point. Like, there was no more delaying, and it was not going to be about the money anymore. And I was going to suspend disbelief that when I focus on this, the result is going to be that I have the time and space to get everything that I need to get done, and it will just be fine. And that I'm not going to make less money because of it. If anything, I'll make more, and all of that. And so then after having recorded that episode last night, and then having, today I had Casey was sleeping in, I took the other kids to school, and then I had some other, I was recording with Kelly for our Spiral of the Rose podcast. And I had, just some time to myself before I needed to sort of give Casey my attention. And I went on and like I got her food after she woke up. And then I went on and I was going to just check my notifications and do my engagement and, all of that. And that first thing that I came across was what really was like, damn it, I missed a step, right? So yeah, it's me, and then being present with my family, and then my home, but it's not work next. It's then my sisters. So, and by sisters, I mean like my chosen sisterhood circles. Okay. My spirituality circles, my, the people who I've chosen to be my closest companions energetically in that way. Right. So the reason that I wanted to bring this all here today is I want to sort of challenge everyone who listens to this podcast to take this deep of a look at your life, because it had me sobbing. in recording the last couple of suspending disbelief episodes, and in like even last night falling asleep, like all the things that I was thinking about, it was just like, I cannot believe how, and it's, maybe a little bit extreme that, the level of being present that I desire with my kids is so beyond where I'm at. And yet people tell me all the time that I am such a present mother and I'm so patient and I'm, all of these things. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And it's not that I'm not, it's that I just want more. And I was even saying in that suspending disbelief episode, I was saying that it reminded me of the song from The Greatest Showman. Never enough. There's never enough. I could never be present enough. I could never fill up my cup enough. I could never fill up their cups enough. I could never, and that doesn't mean that there's any sort of like bringing ourselves down or we aren't good enough. It's that it shouldn't be limited. It should not have that cap on it. We should not be putting that cap on it ourselves. So my challenge for you is, number one, if you have not jumped on the suspending disbelief bandwagon, please do, because it is life-changing. Go over there, start at episode 1, start binging if you want. Don't binge if you don't want, like whatever. But I challenge you to suspend that disbelief, because right now what I am choosing is that I am going to spend as much time as I desire on my self-care. I am going to spend as much time as my 3 children, which is a lot of needs, let me tell you, as a single mom, as my 3 children need from me to fully fill their cups with present and completely connected time with me, as in no screens on, and interacting with one another and really filling each other's cups and building our bonds. And not limiting that time. And then I'm going to, you know, take the amount of time, however much that is, to keep my home at the level that I love it and that I prefer to maintain it at, because that's what makes me feel amazing. And that's what makes it so that I feel 100% free in my mind to focus and get the direction with work that I need, and make everything happen that I always make happen, and that makes me the ADHD productivity queen and all of this stuff. I preach it that, like, as you do these things, you get faster at them and they take less time. When you prioritize these, they take less time. And I know it's true. And yet I have capped it for myself and for my kids and for my home and everything, where I stop at a certain point and move on. And I don't let myself go until I'm done. So I'm changing that. And I'm still going to make as much as or more money than I have been. I am still going to get all of the tasks that I need to get done in my business. And I'm going to feel extremely more fulfilled and much happier with myself for the level of presentness that I am bringing to the relationships with my children. So, not sure if I clearly stated that challenge, but I want you to look at your life in that same way. I want you to look at, am I giving myself the unlimited amount of self-care time that I need? And yes, at first, if you have not been doing it, it is going to take longer. And the thing that comes into play here is trusting that, guess, as one of my clients puts it, God, universe, energy, source, or spirit, I think are the pieces of the acronym. But whoever or whatever that you believe in, that we can trust that everything, all of our needs, all of our desires will be met and more, if we focus on things in this order, if we prioritize properly, and because when this is the proper prioritization, okay, and if we change it and we put work first, work fills the time you give it, right? So it will take over everything else. Even if you make sure that you get some time in for all of that, it's just not enough. It is actually you trying to control the outcome and not trusting in, guess, universe, source, God, whatever. So I challenge you to release it to that level. And obviously, if you have a job where you need to show up for certain hours and that is fine. Okay. I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm not telling you to, any of that stuff, but in your open hours, don't turn on that TV. Don't open up YouTube and watch videos. Don't scroll social media. Pour into your cup endlessly until it feels like it's overflowing, and then pour into your family endlessly until your present connections with them are so powerful and unshakable and bring you to tears. And then clean up your house and feel amazing about the space that you live in. And then connect with people who help you keep your energy up and high vibrational and all of that, and build those relationships and sisterhood circles and all of it. And then trust that there will miraculously still be enough time left over for you to make all the money that you need, um, and do all of the business tasks that you need, and all of it. And everything is always working out for you. And just, yeah, that's what I had to share with you guys today. And it was like pulling at me. My lunch is sitting cooling down on the stove. I was like, nope, I need to go record this while I'm inspired. So that is what it is. And, kind of tapping back into the energy of the Suspending Disbelief podcast that I talk about all the time. And I haven't, been saying the words every single time anymore, but some of the affirmations that I used in the Suspending Disbelief podcast are along these lines. So I choose to feel what I want to create. So if I am wanting to create a life where I am super present with my children and I fill my own cup first and I have this beautiful, clean, decluttered home and all of that, then I am going to make myself feel that so that I create it. That's how we manifest, right? And then another very similar one is I trust myself to create the experiences that I want to have. And my success is inevitable. And when I talk about success, I don't just mean money. I never just mean money. My success is inevitable, and my success is here because I choose to prioritize what success means to me. And that means being present with my family, spending as much time on self-care as is needed to feel very taken care of and to feel filled up. And that no matter what, the money that I need and all of my needs and wants will be taken care of. That is inevitable. God, universe, energy, source, spirits, whatever it is that you believe in, they will help you take care of that if you prioritize the things that really matter most. So, off my soapbox now, and I will talk to you all next week.
Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe to be notified of new episodes. If you really love it here and want to help spread the light, please take a moment to rate the show and leave a review. They help so much. If you love listening and want to be part of the interactive and incredible online community we're growing, make sure you click the link in the description box and join the Facebook group. I promise you it is not like other groups you've been in. Hope to meet you there soon, and I'll be talking to you next week, sending you all my love from my heartbeat to yours.